Alright, so hopefully this one won't be too long, but here's the test review because, well, geez, it seems like it could be long just because it could take me a while to go through the exponential stuff. But anyways, I'm going to kind of follow this review for typing the test, so kind of keep that in mind. So you will have a numbers problem, per se. So when we say sum of two numbers, we're saying x plus y is equals 7 less than. When you say less than, that means you're putting a minus, but whatever's in front of the word is less than goes after the minus. So notice how I've written that. Twice the first, so 2x, because x is first. Difference. Difference means x minus y. 9 less than minus 9, twice the second. Now both of those need to move to the other side, the 2x and the 2y, before I can do this with the row echelon form or whatever. And if I do that, I would have 1 minus 2x and negative 1 minus 2y, which would give me negative 1x plus 1y equals negative 7, and 1x minus 3y equals negative 9, which should give me a final answer of 15 and 8. Okay, so moving on to the second problem. Perimeter of a rectangle. Every time you see perimeter of a rectangle, you should be rewriting 2L plus 2W is 606 meters. Length, next sentence, next equation, length is, so L equals 42 more than, so plus 42, twice the width, so 2W. Now again, the 2W needs to move to the other side, so I have L minus 2W, 1L minus 2W equals 42. So I could type in 2L plus 2W, 606, 1L minus 2W equals 42, to get L is equal to 216 and W is equal to 87. So fairly simple, not that hard. Okay, so let's look at number 3. Number 3, hopefully you have your theme in front of you, but X is going to be the tables, Y is going to be the chairs. So I'm just going to say, that's very simple. All you got to do is say, and this is the cost of course, 4X plus 15Y equals $904.80. 2X plus 10Y equals $549.90. Then you can do your reduced row echelon form and everything else, and you would get X is equal to 79.95, and Y is equal to $39. As if I was looking at the right thing, because that would help me a lot. Anyways, and that's it. That's all you got to do. You just plug those in, do the whole reduced row echelon form, menu 7.5. You're choosing 2 rows, 3 columns, kind of go from there. Number 4. Number 4 is a mixture problem. And with mixture problems, you always have a total equation and you have a mixed equation. The total equation is always x plus y equals sum total. So it's always going to be just x plus y. Okay, in this case it would equal 25 because it says we make 25 pounds of this stuff. Then your mixed equation is x plus y equals the total times something. So something times the x plus something times the y equals something times the total. And in this case we have 325 for the apricots mixture, 479 for the prunes, and gives us a mixture that is worth 379. Now keep in mind that this number should always be between the other two, the x and y numbers. Should always be in between. Okay, and if you type them in, you should get that x is equal to 16 pounds and y is equal to 9 pounds. Keep in mind you will probably have to round that off to the nearest whole number because it's very hard for me to get that one like very exact. Number 5 is a motion problem, and with motion problems you always have an x plus y, x minus y. The x plus y is the downstream or with the wind. X minus y is the upstream or against the wind. In front of those parentheses should be time amounts, and in back should be distance. So when I say I go 30 kilometers in 3 hours downstream, 30 kilometers is a distance, that's at the end, time, hours goes in front. The same amount of time, 3 hours, I would go 18 kilometers upstream, so there you go. And then, again, don't forget to distribute. 3x plus 3y equals 30. 3x minus 3y equals 18. Type them into the calculator, press enter, and you will get your answer. In this case, 8 kilometers per hour and 2 kilometers per hour because you're moving a distance. It's a speed, kilometers per hour. And then finally, number 6, again, decide what your X and Y is. X is going to be the asparagus, Y is going to be the broccoli, Z is going to be the cabbage, and then just set them up. For the 3 equation 3 unknowns, I'll probably keep them fairly simple. As much as I want to do like a quarters, nickels, and dimes things, I'll probably keep it fairly simple. Something that you can easily type in, hopefully come up with an answer and set up. So you can see here me going through the setup and kind of going from there. So keep going, I'm going to let it keep going. And then you press enter, type them into the calculator, press enter, and you'll get that the asparagus was $2, the broccoli was $1, and the cabbage was 50 cents. So fairly easy, not too hard. That shouldn't be that much. Now let's look at the exponential stuff. Now, keep in mind with the exponential stuff, you need to make sure you know about MatMan. When you multiply, you add exponents. When you have parentheses, you multiply exponents. When you add, you do nothing with exponents, although you won't have to worry about that one. Also, when you divide, you subtract exponents. But also, keep in mind, like on number 1, I'm multiplying, which means I need to add the exponents. But at the same time, I'm also going to multiply the coefficients, the big numbers that are in the front. So 2 times 2 is 4. And then, however you want to deal with anything to the 0 power, I mean, you can just cross them out, you can just do whatever, but I mean, they're really something you don't have to worry about. So p to the 0, p to the 0, q to the 0, those can be all crossed out. So really, I'm dealing with the R4 and the R, and got to make sure you put an exponent. If you're missing an exponent, put a 1. So 4 plus 1 is R5. I'm going to go into kind of this funky order because that's how I took the pictures, so kind of go with that. Okay, so for number 3, again, multiply the coefficients. 3 times 3 is 9. And then start adding the exponents. And I like to put these in alphabetical order, but as long as you get them all, that's fine. So a, -4 plus -2. For the a's, -4 plus -2 is -6. So I'm adding those exponents. B2, because there's no other b's, and then 2 plus 2 for the c gives me 4. Now, since there is a negative on that a, I need to rewrite this where I put the a on the bottom. And that's it. So the next one, 16 times 16 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16. Duh. Okay, then I'm going to work with the x's. So -2 plus 4 is 2. Then the y's. -4 plus 3 is -1. And then I don't need the z to the 0, but I do have a z to the 1, so that's z to the 1. So again, rewrite everything. The y needs to go to the bottom. And there you go. Okay, so here I'm going to multiply. 2 times 4 times 3 is 24. Combine my x's, and that should give me x to the -6. Combine my y's, y to the 6. Combine my z's, z to the 6. And then, because the x was negative, I'll move it to the bottom. Here I got 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. Combine my h's, my j's, and then my k's. Okay, notice again, all I'm doing is writing and adding. And if these are moving too fast, then just go ahead and pause it and double check. But you can kind of see here, 2 times 3 is 6, 4 and 4, that's it. 2 plus a -4 is -2, -3 plus -1 is -4. So notice that when I rewrote those two, and -2 and P4, -4, they moved down to the bottom and became positive. All right, so let's look at the next one. So remember, on these, when you have the exponents like that, or when you have the parentheses, you need to multiply. Make sure everything has an exponent, then do the multiplication. So 4 to the 4th, m to the 4th, q to the -16. 4 to the 4th is 256. M to the 4 would stay on top, and q would move down to the bottom. Now, if you want to make sure that you type it in, like if you can't remember that 4 to the 4th means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, there is a way on the calculator if you use the caret key. And that's the one with next to the x squared button. And you just press it, like you press 4, press it, get the exponent, and then type it in. Alright, here I don't need to worry about z to the 0 but I do need to say 2 squared, y to the negative 6, rewrite, and again, get it like that. So most of these are pretty easy. Notice that sometimes I do rewrite this. If you left it like this, I would be okay. I mean, I'd probably still count it right, but I would prefer the 16, y to the 16. Okay, here I'm multiplying again. Notice that that's going to move the x and y down. Anything to the 0 power is just 1. That one's easy. Okay, get rid of the p to the 0 and then say multiply by negative 4, negative 16, positive 4. So the r stays on top and the q moves to the bottom. 3 divided by 3 is 3. So coefficients, when we're getting to dividing, we just divide. But then we subtract the exponents. So here's how I do this. One, the x negative 2 had nothing to combine with it. So it just stays down there. But when you subtract, like you're saying 1 minus 4 for the y and 2 minus 2 for the z, when you're doing that, the answer that you get, put it on top. And then if you need to move things around, you can move things around. So let's do that. And notice here that the x was, since it was negative, had to switch, move to the top, and the y, since it was negative, had to move to the bottom. So I do the same thing there, and notice that everything, the negative 3 for the j and negative 1 for the k, moved down to the bottom. The 3 those stayed on top. But again, subtracting, when you're subtracting these two, negative 1 minus 2, you are putting that answer that you get on top. Okay, 4/3, subtracting. Notice here again, still subtracting, so these are pretty easy. Notice how all my answers were on top, and then whichever ones were negative, that's when I made the changes. So first I subtract, put that answer on top, and then if I need to make changes, I need to make changes. 16, I didn't have to do that. Alright, I'm going to admit that I might be on the wrong number here because I had to go to a meeting which kind of interrupted things for a little bit, but here we go. And here, I'll add in my bonus word for the test today, right here. So if you're listening, which I hope you are, write the word Thanksgiving at the bottom of your paper and you'll get 5 bonus points. Anyways, so let's go with this. So what I need to do again is subtract the exponents. Notice that I'm making sure I put 1 on all the exponents that are variables that don't have an exponent. So 1 minus 1 gives me m0. 0 minus 1 gives me p negative 1. And then I have the negative 1, n negative 1 on the bottom. Now the reason why the n negative 1's on the bottom is because n was already there on the bottom. I'll worry about switching things later, but the m and the p ended up on top because when I subtract, when I actually do the subtraction, that answer I get should be on top. And then I can worry about moving. So I make the move, and the n moves, the p moves, and the m is gone. All right, here I need to distribute. I need to multiply the negative 3 to all the exponents inside first. Multiplying 0 times anything is still 0. And then what I did here on the bottom was I combined, like 2 plus 0 is x2. Negative 1 plus 1 is y0. 2 minus 3 is, or 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. Then again, combine. So 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 6 minus 0 is negative 6. And the negative 1 is still there. Switch the things I need to switch, and you end up with that final answer. xz over 2y to the 6. Okay, so let's see here. Now we're going to do this one. Number 18, we got the 4. Negative 2 minus 4 for the m, because I like to do these in order, alphabetical order. So negative 2 minus 4 gives me m negative 6. 1 minus a negative 2. 1 minus a negative 2 gives me p3. And then the q, 1 minus 0, is just q1. So I can see here that the m is going to move down to the bottom, and the p and q will stay on top. Here I want to distribute on the bottom, so I'm not going to do any, oopsie, went too far there. Let's try that again. So I'm not going to do anything with the top. And then multiply 3 times 1, 3 times -1, and 3 times 4 to get R3, P -3, and Q12. Then I'm going to do my subtraction. So -3 minus 3 is R -6. 2 minus 12 is Q -10. And the P -3 stays where it's at because there was no other P to go with it. Now I'll switch them around. Put the P3 on top and the R6 and Q10 on the bottom because, again, these negatives need to change places so they can become positive. And there you go. All right, number 21. Anything to the 0 power is just 1. That one's so hard. I love 21. But notice, again, that 0 power covers everything on the outside because that parentheses is covering everything and that 0 is on the outside. So that means everything became just 1. Here I can cross out the y0 and z0 because those are individual zeros. Make sure I have an exponent of 1 here. So 4 times 1 is 2 to the 4th, x8. And then I can rewrite everything else. And then I'm going to say add my exponents on top because these on top are going to be added. So 4 plus 1 is 5. Notice that I'm treating the 2 because it has exponents as a variable. So like you can do that. 8 minus 4, 8 plus -4 is 4, and then there's a y -4. Over 2 to the 1, x -2, and y4. And then again, start subtracting, and then you can worry about, so 5 minus 1 is 4, 6, -8, and then rewrite to get your final answer like that. And I prefer 2 to the 4th is written as 16. You can write it as 2 to the 4th, and I'd be okay. All right, are we on our last 2? I think we are. Yay! Okay, that crosses out. Don't care. There's a bell. Don't care. Let's multiply. 2 to the 4th, x to the -12, y to the -12, z to the 12. 2 to the 3rd, x to the 3rd, y to the -12, and z to the 9. And then you subtract your exponents. So that's what I'm getting. And then finally, I get that. So I had to move everything over into the right place. Subtract, and then move. Okay? So here, like here I said, 3 minus a -4 is 7. -3 minus a -2 is -1. And then R3 is just R3. The -1, the Q -1 needs to move down, join the 2, and there you go. And that's about it, folks. That covers everything for this review. Do hope you do well with this test. And I hope that you all are ready. Y'all take care. Make sure you have your note card. Thank you very much.